Whoa, 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 whoa. Okay, let's just calm down for a while. The Steam sale lasts for a while, so let's do our research. You might be thinking that it's time to pick up one of those big budget AAA games around right now, but maybe you should because they're not doing too well. But I would say no, actually. What if I were to tell you you could buy 19 games for the same price that you could buy one AAA $60 game? Well, I am. So same rules as the previous videos that I did. Turns out that those deals are, for the most part, still valid, so check that one out as well. So the rules are, we're going to spend $60 on Steam games, and each game will be a substitute for a more expensive AAA game, or more expensive in general. So let's get right to it. Yeah, I'm starting off on the wrong foot. While Fury isn't exactly a AAA game, a similar experience would be Titan Souls. Both games are boss rush games that have clearly defined controls. You start off with the same moveset that you end off with, but you're going to be using these different moves in different ways throughout the 3-hour campaign. Titan Souls can be purchased for the price of $3.74.
My dear Corvo, what a sad hand fate has dealt you.
So you were looking at Dishonored 2, and you were thinking, oh, I want to get a super sneaky stealth magical games, but that are successors to Thief and other immersive sims such as Deus Ex. Well, why don't you play this game? Play the original game, at least. At least it works on the PC. I personally have problems with the story of this one, and if you choose to do a pacifist run, then 1, you feel like you're playing the game wrong, and 2, your options are very, very limited. But other than that, it's a fine immersive sim. So Dishonored is a 12.5-hour game that you could buy for $3.29.
My name is Max Caulfield. I'm 18 years old. Years ago, my family...
So you're looking at the upcoming Telltale's The Walking Dead season, or even the Batman game they just came out with. I mean, come on, you know what's gonna happen basically in those games. You get the basic gist. They're established franchises. You should really check out Life is Strange, made by Don't Nod Entertainment, whose games seem to follow the MO of these cerebral games. This is a game that does the Telltale formula in a different way, so it's not boring and familiar. And it's not an established franchise, so you could basically go in blind without any expectations. Well, most people have already probably seen a Let's Play of it, so I guess most people have already experienced this game. So, I mean, Life is Strange is going to take you 14.5 hours to complete, and will only set you back about $4.99. I don't think there will ever be a time where I don't mention Deus Ex in one of these. Many games, such as Mankind Divided and Dishonored 2, take their influences from these games, but there's no game that gets that much praise of being the best game of all time that Deus Ex does. Sometimes playing through this can feel very prophetic. It's not perfect, and it's very unbalanced, and its graphics don't really stand up today, but you can fix that with some mods. Also have a full review of Deus Ex and Mankind Divided if you're interested. Hint, hint. The original Deus Ex takes 23.5 hours to complete and will cost you less than your lunch, $1.59.
The first day of combat for the 501st.
The darling of the internet, Star Wars Battlefront 2, has always been very well regarded. And well, if you've played this or any other Battlefield game, you basically played Battlefield 1. Today, the built-in GameSpy multiplayer doesn't really work, or GameSpy, but you can install a mod that allows you to connect to multiple servers. Your mileage may vary, as I was never able to get stable frame rate on the matches that I tried, but there is a campaign that are basically bot matches, and Galactic Conquest, which is my favorite mode, and Instant Action. There's a whole lot of content here, though to me, coming back to this game, the maps kind of feel bare, the shooting is a bit less kinetic than its successor, and it's hella unbalanced when you compare it with its modern incarnation that the internet apparently doesn't want me to talk about. So Star Wars Battlefront 2 is a multiplayer game, so you can play it as long as you want, but its single player options might take you about 8 hours to complete, and it'll cost you less than your lunch at a price of $2.49.
You got the touch! My name is Lo Wang.
This one comes with a lot of caveats, as I'm not too big a fan of this game, but what Shadow Warrior does is provide a crass-talking Asian protagonist that has a really great sense of humor, or a really lame sense of humor, depending on who you are. I go between being of the latter option and the former sometimes, depends on some parts of the game. Some of the jokes land, and some of them don't, to me. The action here is intense, and the upgrades are very plentiful, so, I mean, if you want an oldish school shooter, well, here you go. Shadow Warrior is a 12.5-hour game that costs you $3.99. Well, what can I say about Limbo that hasn't been said already? It's definitely one of the most atmospheric games that I've ever played. Its eerie environments and memorable set pieces make the hallmark of a cinematic platformer that it actually seems that Playdead is the only company that's still making games in this category. I like Inside a bit more because I felt like its puzzles required less minute, exact jumping, which was really annoying in Limbo, especially when you know exactly what to do, but you can't really get the timing down. Limbo is a 3.5-hour game that'll cost you, and I don't have the price. That's wonderful. $1.99. It'll cost you $1.99, or you can play it on your tablet for 99 cents. Huh. That's interesting.
When the police won't help you and the priests don't believe you, you call on Paul Prospero.
The Vanishing of Ethan Carter is one of my favorite walking simulators, along with Firewatch. You play as supernatural detective Paul Prospero. No, not the TV show. As he gets a letter from a boy named Ethan Carter, as you can tell from the title, and it's about him going missing. You come into town and you see a bunch of weird things. This game has some really interesting and unique puzzles, and is a very beautiful and unique experience. This game comes with my full recommendation. Just a great game. It takes about 4 hours to beat and will cost you $3.99. After looking at all the angry No Man's Sky rants that were popular after its release, I thought to myself, well, how do I fix this game? My answer was make it a smaller game and closer to an Oregon Trail type game, and thus comes in 80 Days, a game that I feel like is best played on your phone. It's where I played it. The premise of the game comes from the title. Travel the world in 80 days. Most of the time you're not gonna make it in time, but as you learn the situations and what routes are the fastest and easiest to navigate, you'll get closer and closer to your 80 days mark. The best part of it is that it's only $4.99, and one run is gonna last you about an hour or two. So you're gonna want to play this over and over again so that you'll get your score closer to that 80 days mark. You want a cool parkour game? Well, how about a really cool skating parkour game? This game is way cooler than that Catalyst game that came out earlier this year, and it has a pretty cool soundtrack. It's just a classic, and its stylized graphics still hold up pretty well for today's standards. Jet Set Radio is about a 7-hour experience that you can pick up for $1.99. Do you know what the best abstraction of a Hitman game is? No, it's not a shoot 'em up. It's a puzzle game at heart, and Hitman Go is a damn good one. If you're really good, it'll take you about 5 hours to complete, but I could really see someone spending 10 or even 12 hours with it. Hitman Go is one of the cheapest game on this list. It'll cost you about $1.99. So hear me out. I know this might sound weird. So when I first heard that Telltale was doing a Batman game, I thought, well, make it first a detective game and tell the story in a unique way. But apparently, from what I've been reading, they did neither. They just shuffle up a bunch of characters. That's it. So in comes Her Story, the game that was low-key one of my most favorite and interesting games of last year, but I didn't name it Game of the Year, unfortunately. The premise is simple. You're investigating this case years after the fact that it happened, so you're searching through this database of these interviews to piece together what happened. So you're searching through this database of interviews to piece together what happened. If you play this game like I did, you're going to end up with a notepad of scrambled words that make you look like a mad person, like a good detective game should. It's probably the most detective-y game that I've played. Mark Brown of Game Maker's Toolkit actually made some great videos about it. I'd highly recommend it if you actually do come around and play the game. Her story is a great game. It took me about 3.5 hours to complete and will cost you $2.99.
A famous explorer once said,
do you wish you could play Uncharted 4, but you only have a PC? I wasn't too big of a fan of Uncharted 4, as many might know, but I don't think a deep analysis that wasn't really very profound of who Nathan Drake was true to what the character that Amy Hennig had portrayed in the previous 3 Uncharted games. Tomb Raider 2013 is actually a way more consistent experience in my opinion, with way more mechanics and such, so yeah. Tomb Raider will cost you $4.99 and takes... Tomb Raider 2013 is 11.5 hours and it will cost you $4.99. While Burnout is a bit more of an arcadey game, I can't think of a more exact substitute for Forza Horizon 3 than Burnout. They're both open world racing games, except this one you can get on Steam and it's really cool when you crash the cars. Burnout Paradise is a 14-hour game that you can get for the low price of $4.99.
On today's top story, the Valkyr crisis...
Maximum Payne! Payne to the max! The game that popularized the John Woo-esque time manipulation slowdown moves that were so popular in movies such as The Matrix. Max Payne is one of my favorite games of all time that weaves together an awesome story with great gameplay. For me, Remedy gets a free pass whenever they make a game because for some reason they seem to make games that on paper look like one-trick ponies but actually are very substantial. Give this game a play. I highly recommend it. Max Payne is a 8.5 hour campaign that'll cost you $3.49. When Jonathan Blow's The Witness came out earlier this year, the consensus was that it was an art house game and that it wasn't really for everyone. That's kind of a shame. Blow's previous game was an artsy game that was enjoyable at the very least everyone from a gameplay perspective. Braid is a classic that is referred to many times by critics and game designers alike, so that means you should play it at the very least. It's a 5-hour game that only costs $2.99. You want a hacky sneaky game? Well, look no further than the likes of one of my favorite indie games of all time, Gunpoint. The hilarious at times puzzle game is about rewiring items to each other and using your noodles, sneak into buildings, get stuff, and get out. It's a simple idea that gets implemented upon by great puzzle designs, and when you beat the game, you're not done. You could play levels made by other people as well. Gunpoint is a 3-hour game that will set you back $4.99, but it's worth every penny in my opinion. This game is 50 cents and I think the title's interesting, so I put it on the list. So yeah, I've never played it, but it looks like you won't give your computer a virus, so yeah, I don't care anymore. So here, have 2 cents left over, so you can have your own opinion about stuff on the internet. Alright, and there's 18 games and we only spent $60 and we got a whole lot of gameplay out of it. So yeah,